Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the book Unagoraphobic by Hal Mathew, and I wanted us to kind of start a book study on this book. We have in the past done a book study on David Carbonell's Panic Attacks Workbook. I will leave the playlist down below in the description box if you're interested in looking through that. But I thought this would be a good book. I will also leave a link down to where you can find this book if you're interested. It says, overcome anxiety, panic attacks, and agoraphobia for good. I thought we could take a chapter by chapter, week by week look at this book. Let me read you what it says on the back. If Hal could do it, so can you. The National Institute of Mental Health estimates that nearly 1.5% of the population of the United States suffer from agoraphobia at some point in our lifetime. That's 4.5 million people. You are not alone. No matter how alone you may feel, you are not alone. Former journalist, social worker, and amateur actor Hal Mathew knows exactly what it's like to fear fear, which is how he describes the dread feeling that sometimes kept him from leaving home or leaving sober for nearly 30 years. Then, slowly, he began to piece together a plan for overcoming his phobias and resuming a regular life. And it worked. And then he started teaching other people how to do it. Now he has written this book to share his self-care plan with you. Hal will guide you through writing practices, visualization techniques, even cooking and eating routines to help you feel anchored and safe and ready to take your first trips out of the house. He'll answer your questions, offer general survival tips, and even includes a special chapter for your spouses and loved ones. No one knows exactly what causes agoraphobia or panic attacks, but miscommunication in the brain is certainly involved. The good news is that recent neuroscience research shows us that the brain is retrainable at any age. You can stop feeling like this. You will stop feeling like this. With Hal's help, you will be able to retrain your body and brain so you can take life back, totally and forever. I was talking about this book a while back, where he was talking about in the introduction part where you retrain yourself to listen to what your brain is telling you instead of what your mind is tricking you into thinking. And I just wanted to read a passage out of this book. Part of the introduction part of the book, that is what causes panic attacks. Now, I won't usually be reading out of the book like I did with the Panic Attacks Workbook. I'll read the chapter and kind of summarize it for you, but I probably will be reading straight from my notes because I'm really bad at memorization. So this is what he says about what causes panic attacks. There is no clear answer to what causes a panic attack, but theories abound. When we are startled or alarmed by something that turns out not to be dangerous, our ancestor-tainted fight or flight response system can be misled into believing there is a full-scale emergency. As a result, adrenaline floods through our system and blood flows to the muscles, making the body ready for action when there is no action to be had. Pulse, breathing rate, and blood pressure rise for naught. The overwhelming feeling of fear is real, but there is nothing real to fear. This constitutes a panic attack. It seems clear that some people have elevated susceptibility to being startled and therefore could be the type to unwittingly throw gasoline on the tiny spark of something as harmless as a sudden noise. I surmise that both learned behavior and genetic brain chemistry are involved in making one person likely to easily recover from being startled and another person more easily misled and unable to halt a fight or flight response to a mere startle. Think of an occasion when you were surprised or startled by something that caused you to either freeze or quickly move out of the way. That something could have been as harmless to most people as a honeybee, or it could have been an axe-wielding maniac. If the bee wandered off in another direction and disappeared, a normal person would return to normal. If the axe maniac persisted, a normal person would continue evading or fighting back with the elevated strength and speed provided by a flood of adrenaline. Someone with panic order does not know how to turn off the false alarm process once it gets going and must endure a terrifying experience of unknown duration, even if there is nothing apparent to fear. The bee left, but they still got stung. Neuroscience tells us that two smallish parts of the brain, the amygdala and the hippocampus, I hope that I'm saying that's right, are essentially the guards at the gate, taking in all data as it arrives at us. To paraphrase what I have learned from many sources, genetics are involved in determining how we act or react under a given circumstance, but some are the decisions on how to evaluate a given bit of information are made through a deliberate, conscious process. You have many times in your life told your brain to go on alert when certain specific things are present because you regard them as dangerous. Our early ancestors had to be on high alert whenever they were away from camp because there were many ferocious critters roaming the earth. The fight or flight system allowed a Neanderthal adult to be in full spirit within milliseconds of having seen the fangs of a nearby people eater. But that was then and this is now, so no one would think time plus reality would have toned down our defense system a bit. The truth is, unfortunately, some people have alarm systems that need to be reprogrammed. We all take in squintillions, I love that word, of units of information daily. Nearly every time you turn your head, you see changes. Our brains have to filter data so that we can conduct somewhat rational lives without being overwhelmed. The aforementioned amygdala and hippocampus team up to provide our data filter. Try to imagine how many mixed messages have been transmitted from one part of your brain to another and back when things went scary or misinterpreted, changed status a few times from scary to friendly to indifferent and back again. Imagine something as simple as a particular person at school, for example. Multiply that example by millions of experiences and changes in perception, and we wonder how we ever learn to be afraid of the approximate things and make the correct response to any given stimuli. It's not hard for me to understand how a child who is nervous by nature or circumstances could be subconsciously telling the information sorting part of her brain to fear many sorts of things than a less nervous child might fear. I've spoken to several agoraphobic people who reported troublesome anxiety as youngsters, and my own story is no different. The more thing a child decides to fear, and it really is a decision, the more likely the child is to end up in a situation that creates a fearful response. So, that is what he has to say about that. I say, we always talk about fight or flight responses, but they never talk about the freeze response, because I found myself in situations of panic where I just freeze up and I don't know what to say or what to do. I don't go anywhere. I don't fight it. And I'm just paralyzed with fear. And I don't think people take into account as much as they should. Okay, then he says, how do you cure it? This book, Unagoraphobic, gives you or your friend or partner all the tools needed for full recovery, including information and advice on therapy and medication. I have developed a process for tricking the mind and for making the necessary holistic changes in order to fully recover. The agoraphobic person will recover by tricking herself into not fearing panic attacks. Once she stops fearing panic attacks, she will never have another. My advice to an agoraphobic person who wants to recover is to thoroughly read and do this book and throw everything you have into the process. Briefly, an agoraphobic person needs to do heavy lifting in the following areas: willingness to change, letting go, communication skills, confidence, self-respect, self-knowledge, self-love, knowledge about agoraphobia, and courage. The book demonstrates how to remember joy, how to become calm, how to learn, and how to change. Central to overcoming agoraphobia in the recovery program, as it is laid out in the book. The program evolves and develops day by day through specific activities and journal writing. Recovery requires diligent work, creative actions, and self-learned tactics. I designed this recovery process so that readers heal from within, rather than follow a strict regimen from me that will heal from the outside. Readers instead finally invent a way, their own way, to break out of prison from the inside. A therapist who specializes in panic and anxiety disorder can greatly assist recovery, and there are some medications that can help if used prudently. There are many ways to offset the costs of these therapies. For more on this, see Chapter 7. Okay. So he makes some pretty big claims in this book. And I'd like to see what he has to say. He is not a medical professional, unlike David Carbonell was in his book. But he has been through the trenches, unlike David Carbonell. And I know I keep holding this up, and I'm sorry if I keep flashing y'all. I'm sorry about that. So I want to know what you think. And if you think this book sounds interesting or not. And yeah, give this a like if you liked it. Leave a comment down below if you are interested or not. And yeah, I just hope you are having a great day out there today, and that everything is going your way and everything is going great. But if you are not having a great day, I hope something comes along and sparks your day into having a great day. If you are having an especially hard day today, I hope that it gets better with time, and I am sending you the good vibes so that it'll help you to get better, I hope. And just remember to stay strong and stay healthy, and to, what's the last one? Okay, stay safe. And I will see you in my next video. Okay, alright, see you later. Goodbye.